Hello. How's everyone doing? I will be joined by a guest probably in like an hour and a bit. And we're going to talk a bit about food not bombs and food programs as a thing. Till then though, I'm going to fucking play some video games. And hope that the Skittles cam doesn't fuck up too bad this time. We'll see. We will see. So I need to... What am I going to play? I'm going to play Lazarus. The Big L. Is this setup going to work for me? Yeah. Wait, hang on. Yeah, now it is. All right. We're in the big... is it? No, it's not frozen. She's just kind of hanging in halfway out of her bed. That's fine. She can do that. Skittles rights. Anyway, how we all doing today? The Lord's Day of rest and streaming. Not a lot of people know, but that's in the Bible. Right next to where it says, "Goddamn America." It's right there in the Bible. It's a potentially deep cut, but that's okay. Because no one can stop me. Move the side screen here so I can actually fucking see what's going on. That's a little better. Oh yeah, Skittles is on the move. She's up to all sorts. Hello, Cinnamon. Hello, Master Blastoise. Nice to see you back. Hello again, Breadstick. That new vid was great. Also, Skittles looks super cute. Yeah, she fucking does. Thank you, though. I'm glad you liked it. I hope it was perhaps of some help. I think a lot of people have been kind of like, you know, what the fuck do we do now, right? So, We'll see if people take my advice. I hope they will. Obviously, I think it's, you know, my suggestions I think are good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made them. But you know, we'll see. We'll see how things go over the next few years. You know, one thing I will say is, as credit to the electoral efforts of, I should get my fucking mouse off of this. There we go. The electoral efforts of, you know, your Corbynses, your Sanderses. It contributed to what I think was kind of going to be brewing anyway, which is a socialism that you can't ignore now that it's kind of been now that people have been like, oh wait, we can like actually ever make anything better even a little bit. I would like to do that, please. People aren't gonna like shut up about that, so that's good. It's a very Pyrrhic victory, I would say, but it is a step forward, and that is why I will be opposing any talk of compromising with the center-left again for the next few years, because I've seen what happens when we do that. It fucking sucks. Tony Blair was more of a detriment to the working class in this country than any lone Tory could have fucking dreamed of being. Incidentally, that is going to be a topic of my next video. I'm going to be talking about labor. If you're not British, too bad. Learn about other countries, because there are lessons that I think are going to be increasingly applicable to the US as well as, well, anywhere really. At least anywhere in the West. I don't know about other countries, because I'm just a dirty European. Downloaded Twitch just to be able to comment. Hey, Green Fern. I love your content, and even though I'm not on Twitter, I always check your Twitter first thing in the morning. Well, I appreciate it, but you know, don't be on Twitter too much in the morning. That's how you start your day off bad. By getting angry online. Lord knows I won't take my own advice, but I will still give it to others. What do we got here? Whoop. Where's Skittles at? Has she crawled into bed somewhere, or I'm betting that big lump in the jumper on the top floor there, that's probably her. Yep, that's her. Fucking nice. We stan a cozy dude on this stream. I love getting on Twitter first thing in the morning and getting insanely irate. Yeah, I mean, I do it too. I don't get mad anymore, though. I feel that I have transcended. And I can simply ride the waves of the internet superhighway in all its grotesque glory. And I don't have any fucking keys, man. I need to go the other way. I need to get keys. Ever since I deleted all my social media, I've been mega out of the loop. Yeah, well, where I fucked up is getting into something like YouTube where I kind of have to stay in the loop. That's why I got Twitter. I wasn't fucking... Ooh, shit. I wasn't on Twitter before, before I started my channel. I think I had a Twitter, but I did not ever use it. So... that was an active, intentional decision to make my life worse for no reason. Well, not for no reason, but, give me a key, room. That's not a fucking key. That's not a fucking key. We hate missing an item, you know? It's not, that is not on fleek, folks. Voters. Youths. I'm looking forward to the portion of the election where Biden starts going full, like, going on Ellen and dabbing. Like, that's gonna fucking rock. I don't even know what the kids say anymore. We'll probably be using the same out-of-date slang that Clinton was using. Just, Tara Reid? She's not on fleek, is she, folks? What are those accusations? That's gonna happen on Ellen, and Ellen's gonna be like, that's right, women always are liars. Money me now, please. That's gonna be Ellen. As just, like, the vacuum where her soul presumably used to be just starts, like, sucking in the furniture on the set towards her. I hope he dabs. I feel like even for these people, it's far too... That's far too out of date. Also, I feel like he's going for too much of like a respectable old man thing. He might try to fight someone in the crowd. Yeah, I could go for that. Hey, I got a key. I don't have to fucking lose my item this time. That's a pretty good one, too. Alright. Ooh, hang on. Biden will be like, hashtag not me. If Biden dabs on Ellen, I'm blaming UK. That's fair. I'm willing this into existence with all my fucking might. Remember Hillary saying I'm just chilling at Cedar Rapids? Yeah! Oh, I hope Joe chills at Cedar Rapids. That would own. I don't understand what this game is. Master Blastoise, it's weird shit. Wait, is today Mother's Day? When is Mother's Day? I think he'll do the crisscross dance. I don't know what that is. So I hope he does. I was a national delegate for Bernie in 2016 and was a part of the faction of the party that tried to flip it in 2017-18, so I really appreciate your latest video. All of the people who are now saying that you can take back the party have no idea what's going on internally. Yeah, I mean, the party's like, it's designed to prevent a socialist takeover. It's a bit of a wild plan to have. Paw Damn America had a good ep where they theorized that Biden has lead poison. Don't most Americans of his generation like have lead poisoning? This game's about an aborted fetus doing things. Is Isaac aborted? Today's Mother's Day in America? Oh yeah, there's different ones in the UK. Yeah, who cares? Oh. Just got fucking owned by a fly. Flying around a piece of shit. That's the kind of game we're playing tonight, folks. Highbrow. Yeah, it's like, intentionally, like, weird, like, shit humor and stuff for comedic effect, but also a lot of really dark shit. And a lot of Christian themes. Not really in terms of values, I wouldn't say, but just, like, in aesthetics. It's I don't know, it's a weird little game. It's one of like the OG, not OG, but one of the a benchmark, I guess I would say, for roguelike games, even though it's not one of the first or anything. That few, in my opinion, have really come near. Just the design is such that you can really just put a shit ton of content in the game. Whereas a game like Hades, it's more crafted for specific sorts of experiences. You don't quite have that level of replayability. Like in Binding of Isaac, you're never gonna see everything, you know. Ooh.
And hate and oppression.
What's this do? A turret follower. That's pretty sick. This game just devours my time. Yeah, mine too. It's just... You can just keep fucking playing. Alright, do your turret thing. Alright, yeah, he's doing it. He's shooting. Cool guy. This little blue bug man. So, the character I'm playing, Lazarus, his whole deal is... When he dies the first time, he comes back to life. And he does more damage, but only has one heart. So, sometimes after killing a boss, there will be rooms where you can permanently give up hearts for items. So, if possible, I prefer to keep him alive until I can do one of those. So then I get some value for all those hearts before going on to a second, more powerful form. Yep. That's a hot hot gamer strat for free, that one. I didn't get it that time though. Sometimes you know, doesn't always work out that way. So yeah, my last video is doing pretty good numbers-wise. People are watching it. I've gotten some good responses. These are all things I'm happy to see. I don't have any keys. Not happy to see that shit. Not one bit. No siree. In contrast to my coronavirus video before it, I think that it being about that probably didn't do it any favors algorithmically, especially with all the weird misinformation going around about COVID-19. But that's fine. The next video, like I said, is going to be about labor, so for British eyes only. Well, I think a lot of Americans had been looking to the Corbyn project to maybe get a bit of a glimpse into their future in terms of what Sanders was going to be up against, and any of them who did do that were very wise to do so because, again, just the same playbook was really utilized against old Bernard. Sorry. I think there are a lot of similarities in the political environments in these two countries, so we should be learning about each other's political situations. We should absolutely be learning from socialists in each other's countries. In America, I would actually say the level of socialist organizing is beyond what it currently is in the UK. Because I think that in the UK there was a lot more eagerness to fully fall behind Labour. And I've always said, you know, critically support Labour while it's useful, but don't, like, just become a Labour person and that's it. Because this, you know, what has happened with Labour is what was, you know, probably going to happen. Whereas I think there's been much more of an understanding in the US that Bernie, as a politician, as a project, as someone to rally behind, was never going to be it, you know? Master Blastoise is going to call their mother. All right. Best of luck. Have a good day. Thanks for coming. And yeah, Ironheart, in both cases, the parties actively sabotaged them. That and, like, their treatment in the media, the minimizing, perhaps the most nefarious bit was the minimizing of their successes. Like, it didn't do Bernie any favors that his early victories were, like, fucked with and obfuscated, and in the case of Iowa, I'm going to say actively stolen. And so I'm clearing my throat a lot. It's just meh. And in the case of the UK, again, the fact that 2017 was like the best Labour had done since I think 2001, maybe 2005. Under this leader who everyone said was unelectable and shitty. That, of course, was totally minimized. It was like, well, he didn't win, therefore, garbage. You gotta change leader and completely rebrand as a party again, because that'll definitely help you. And this is a problem Labour's gonna be faced with now, is people get really fucking annoyed when you're inconsistent. And a lot of people don't follow, like, the party politics of Labour super in-depth, so, like, a lot of people were still, like, getting on Corbyn's case about shit that, like, happened under Tony Blair. Even though Tony Blair has infinitely more in common with the Conservatives than with Corbyn or anyone on the Labour left. But, you know, the party's the party to a lot of people. So now, you're going to get Starmer trying to, again, completely change trajectory. And there's going to be a lot of people like, oh, what the fuck do you believe then? Like, what is any of this? And it's gonna frustrate people and piss them off. Like, when the party changed their Brexit position in 2019, like, people got really annoyed. And the media just ran with it. And we're like, fucking, look at these guys flip-flopping, they're incoherent, nobody knows what they believe, even though it wasn't that complicated. But any amount of changing your story and stuff, it will get inflated into, like, look at this inconsistent flip-flopper. And that's going to happen again to Labour, because it's like, oh, okay, so now you believe this totally different set of things. What is the truth, you know? One thing you'll notice, and that dipshit centrists who are like, we've got to constantly pivot, because I personally think it'll make us more electable. What they don't seem to comprehend is that the Tories haven't changed since, like, Margaret Thatcher. And they've been winning a lot since then. Even through the Blair years, they didn't really change much. They just waited for Blair to, like, be shown for what he was, and then we're like, hey, we're the same as we've ever been. You know us. You can trust us to do the things that we do, even if you don't like those things. And, well, I mean, how many fucking Tory prime ministers have we had since? Like, that's clearly a much more effective method than being a fucking weather vane and just a weather vane with a poor understanding of which way the wind is blowing at any given point. It just makes people mad. It's why Elizabeth Warren never had a chance, whatever her weird supporters might say, because she's just like, she's got a different story every fucking week. We have too many leftovers from the 70s, etc. So many dinosaur groups that won't get with the times and just love telling the Labour Party. Or just love tailing the Labour Party. Yeah, in the USA they have a clean slate, so to speak. Yeah, a bit. I would say that's definitely a part of it. Have I sorted this room out? Yeah, I have. I'm trying to think of what I'm going to call my next video, but I'm considering just calling it "Leave the Labour Party." What does this remote do? I don't really know what the fuck just happened. Oh, fucking gets me killed. Alrighty, well, that was no good. Ooh, I will take the sticky bomb tiers. Yeah, it's a big part of why I am increasingly trying to have a call to action, I guess, in my videos. I like to do a mix of, like, directly talking about politics explicitly and media analysis, because I like doing both, you know. And it's my channel, and no one can stop me. But, we do need people to be having these kinds of conversations right now. because otherwise we're just gonna like sit around for the next few years like everyone did under Blair. People kind of just like fucked around, and it's because they were so like demoralized and humiliated that they'd gotten behind a fucking Tory basically. So we need to not make that mistake, which means don't fucking vote for Keir Starmer. Can't stress that enough. Don't vote for Keir Starmer. Ooh, shit. I like the explodey boys. Not gonna lie, I laughed when you showed footage of a snake when talking about Warren. Hiss. I mean, she is a fucking snake. Like, she's an ex-Republican who basically just came to be, like, controlled opposition in case the progressive left got too out of control. Luckily, the media was able to sort of get people in line through, you know, a series of pretty fucking undemocratic tactics. Like, the democratic credibility of any U.S. election is jack shit. But this primary has been, I think, one of the biggest wins of Bernie's political campaign existence, I guess, was forcing the DNC to really show their hand and like explicitly put their finger on the scale. Anyone who's not just outright in denial at this point is like, okay, that election was fucked. We do not have fair elections in this country, so I need to think about that before, you know, putting all my eggs in the basket of like a candidate. What's this do? Halitosis. What is halitosis? It's the one thing I don't know. It's a mystery that haunts me to this day. I feel like this song playing right now is derived heavily from Never Gonna Give You Up. I feel I've been owned. Take this. I'll take that, I guess. Extension cord has appeared in the basement. Wonderful. I love extension cords. It's bad breath? Damn. Just found out about bad breath. Fucking bummer, dude. Oop. My sticky bombs don't really do shit against this guy because of his underground technique. That's okay because he's a fucking punk. And you have groups like Blue Labour and the Workers' Party, plus all the socialist groups that are transphobic. Yeah, there's a big... The UK is absolutely blighted by so-called socialist parties that don't really want to confront sort of these reactionary like social values. And a lot of it is because these people are not like normal fucking people. So their idea of like the regular working class person is kind of a caricature. They just imagine a racist in a flat cap, basically. When obviously the working class is the most diverse segment of society that there is. Because every oppressed group, a major tenet of their oppression is that they are economically locked out of certain sort of corners of society. So by siding with, you know, with the workers of the world, you necessarily side with the oppressed people that you've got it into your head that the working class hates. And like, yeah, there's bigoted ideas among the working class, but they're mostly disseminated by the ruling class. And they're much more popularly held amongst, like, the petty bourgeois middle class fucking weenies who don't really have any serious revolutionary potential anyway. So fuck 'em. That's what I always say. Yeah, the Galloway's silly party isn't gonna... It's not anything, so I'm not even really concerning myself with that. Ooh, shit, yeah, I want to go over there. Yeah, give me this. Oh, there's still enemies in the room? I got kind of excited. So there are! Most trans people are working class. It's downright stupid to be against them. Well, yeah, precisely. Most people are working class. Again, yeah. They've got such a basic caricature of what a working class person is, but if you actually understood the sheer number of people who are working class, then it would be impossible to try to reduce them so much. Yeah, I completely reject the premise that the working class, that we are, like, especially fucking bigoted or anything like that. That's preposterous. And it's really just being used for these people to feel like they cannot self-criticize, basically, for their own, like, shitty beliefs and act like it's actually very smart, pragmatic politics to behave that way. Big bosses get fucking owned by the sticky bomb tiers. Ooh, more health up. This isn't really the life I want to be getting health on, but I'm not getting any fucking devil rooms. If I ever do get one, though, I can clear it out reliably. I watched/listened through the talk you had on stream with Snornat last week. I keep coming back... Hold on. I keep coming back to when you were talking briefly about Vermin Supreme. I'm not clear on his deal, but from what I heard of him, I'm pretty sure he's not an ANCAP. At least, just one of those America's forgotten what leftism is, mutual aid-ish anarchists. I've always understood him to be like a right-wing libertarian. Because, like... He's, I don't know, like, I've seen him talk about socialism and stuff before, and he talks about it like it's an inherently, like, authoritarian, oppressive thing. Which, those are, I guess, those are talking points that I would associate with, like, a right libertarian. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't follow him that much. That's just the understanding I have for what I've seen him say. I don't care, though, that much. Like, he's still funny. I enjoy seeing him troll people. He's probably one of the more sentient people, maybe the most sentient person in the Libertarian Party. There's a lot of absolute fucking freaks in there who, just do not understand how anything works, ever. He does seem like a cool dude, at least. Yeah, he seems fine. I got no beef with the Vermin. I hope he wins. Ooh. This item can be a bit weird sometimes, but not on me. Alright, really hoping for a devil room this time. If I stand close enough to him, I think I get him with my bad breath. Not so close, I fucking get hurt though. No devil room again, and I just keep getting... I keep getting health up. Alright, whatever. Let's just keep going. Undying. Nothing but dialectical here, folks. That's right. The most dialectical stream on Twitch. That's what I'm going to start calling it. I feel like it'll annoy all the right people in just the perfect way. Haha, get fuck wall spiders! Whoop! Your chance of devil room increase if you don't take damage against the boss, and even more if you don't take any damage on the floor. Oh shit, I never knew that. Alright. Looks like it's time to get good. Just kidding, I fucking suck at this game, so it's probably not gonna come up. Damn it. Right, I still need the item room. I don't really like this guy. Never get him to hit anything. I end up just ignoring him. Boss room it is. Oh boy. Fucking can't get me, worm men. Any spooky rooms? No, I got hit a lot anyway. The greed game mode might be a good one to take Lazarus for a spin in. I don't remember if I've beaten it with him yet. Looked up something briefly. Whatever other silly ideas Vermin Supreme has held, he does at least claim to really like Peter Kropotkin. I'm skeptical of this. I don't know. Funny poop on the floor? Yeah, poop's very funny. That's what you gotta understand. Poop, fucking hilarious, okay? Twitch imploded. Uh-oh. Yeah, Twitch seems a little more stable than YouTube for streaming, but, you know. Nothing is perfect in this horrible world. Oh. Alright, I'm getting bombed to fuck. I got loads of keys, though. Something good in here. Come on. Oh, sick. A little bit of money. A shop would be good. If I may be so bold. But, yeah, so was it you, Wingless Monkey, who just mentioned the stream with Nat? That was a good stream. Today's guest it's going to be similar-ish. Nat was talking about a renters union. We're going to be talking about food, not bombs today. You should join one. Finally. Yes, my friends are bigger, stronger than they've ever been before. I will take this. Yeah, I'll take a card too. Justice. Another key, why not? Oh, big boys. Love them. Yeah, no, it's, no bad item. What's wrong with making my boys big? I love making my boys big. Look how thick they are. Look at those gams. You can't get gams like this any other way. Oh, the tower curse? Yeah, actually, I do kind of regret picking that up. No good has ever come of it. Alright, well, let's do it. Oh shit, am I a mom already? Alrighty. How quick is it? Ooh, we'll be able to... I'm not very strong. I don't think I'll survive if I try to go into the boss rush room for beating her in under 20 minutes. Ooh, there's a devil room, though. Okay, let's see what we can... Let's see what we get. I feel like that doesn't do much of anything. What's the sack do? Take it. Spin the black circle. Oh! Okay, well, that's fine. Fuck it, let's do it. Let's try the boss rush. Why not? Ooh, I think I'm gonna go for this one. I need damage real bad. And I know what it does. Right, lasers, of course. Oh, did landing in that pentagram hurt my guy there? What now? Jump on me, loser. No, it's already gone. Never mind. Ignore me. Shit. I already popped. Alright, I should do fuckloads of damage now, but also I'm in incredible danger. Fuck. Rest in absolute piss. Hold on, have I done... Yes, I have beat greed. Bro, let's try again. There's this really great member-based organization in my town that collects food from restaurants and grocery stores, and for $35 a month, you get 3 shopping trips a week. No idea if these organizations are anywhere else, but I absolutely love mine. It's been a lifesaver for so many families in my area and has prevented so much food waste in my community. I wish there was one in every town. I've never heard of something like that. That's really interesting. So it's like... Is it like a mutual aid thing that's around Corona right now, or is it predating that? Alright. Okay, I've already been hit, so not great. But perhaps I can be a badass when I get to the boss. Yeet. Okay, let me go find the item that I never got. It's been around for nearly a decade. Sick, okay. Good. It's good when things like that are sort of an established, long-running thing. And it shows that they're able to keep fucking running, right? Item. Ah, freaky Spider-Men. I see. Ooh, what is this? Oh, fuck that. I'm restarting. I hate the charge shot. I'm not. I thought it was that, but I think I was confusing it with something else for a second there. I really wish that this game would like tell you what what the items are, you know? Yeah, let's take the hit. Acid tears? Yeah, okay. That just brings me back here. Fuck. Oh. My eyes are just gone. Just dissolved out of my head. That's fine. I'm gonna pop my first life pretty quick here if I'm not careful. I want to spend those hearts, damn it. Ooh, get away. Spider-Men. Fuck. Absolutely fucked it. Yeah, alright. Speaking as a DSA member, there's a lot of chuckleheads in the org who are allergic to mutual aid. Someone said to me the other day, and I quote, "I would like to see a political argument in favor of mutual aid and not just a moral argument," and my eyes glazed over. Read a fucking book. This is why it's important to know our history, so that you'll know about things like the Black Panthers, whose mutual aid programs were like foundational to their organization in a lot of very important ways. They were what embedded them in their community and like gave them the ability to grow and achieve what they did. As opposed to the DSA, which, like, no offense, is mostly just like backed Bernie. A lot of the branches don't do a whole lot. It's quite a big thing, so like I believe certainly that it has the potential to do more. But a lot of branches currently, I don't think, live up to that potential. And that's not... certainly not a problem unique to the DSA in any way. I wish that the magical purple tears tracked a little more. I wonder if they would track more aggressively if, like, my projectile speed was raised. Boy, I don't do any fucking damage. Hey, there we go. No devil room because I got hit. Sad. I read an article yesterday accusing the American left scene of being inundated with the ideology of the professional managerial class. While I deeply disagree with a lot of the assertions of that article, the ones pointed that the DSA sounded legit. I mean... Okay, so a problem in a lot of countries is that our socialist organizing is far too tied to, like, student politics, and, like, obviously the people who go to university skew towards a certain class. And so you do get a lot of really ineffective, like, aesthetic organizers, you know what I mean? And yeah, allergy towards mutual aid is as managerial as you can get. These people are useless. Like, these fucking, like, shitty middle-class socialists who are too good to do anything, they don't matter. They just don't fucking matter, because they're never gonna be foundational to any meaningful movement. So you need to have a look at the actual working class people in any given organization and what they're gonna do, and what they want to do. DSA is hindered by our national leadership. Individual chapters don't get a lot of help from national unless we're doing electoral. Yeah, I've heard that. That sucks. Been in this org for 3 years, and I'm amazed at how many so-called socialists behave just like capitalists. I've been a socialist for 12 years, and I'm very tired of having the same arguments over and over. Yeah, yeah, I call it, like, liberal leftism. It's like, you're not a fucking communist, you're not a socialist. You just got, like, these vaguely progressive ideas and decided you could just help yourself to these spaces because you joined, like, a fucking socialist society in uni full of other middle-class kids who don't know what socialism is, and you think you're fucking radical. The UK is absolutely inundated with people like that as well. And all of them were immediately consumed into the Labour Party as soon as there was a Labour left, and, like, they're gone now. Like, student socialist organizing was massively hurt, actually, by Corbyn's victory, because a lot of them are, like, they're managerial class fucking dweebs who they want, like, jobs. They want to, like, work for Labour or fucking, like, work for big unions. And I know people who I met through actual radical orgs who, like, went on to go work for, like, big shitty unions. One of whom, I believe, backed Keir Starmer in this election. So it's like, yeah, I don't think those people are, well, let's gamble a bit. And again, this is less about orgs. Like, I'm not just coming at, like, DSA or even Labour or anything. It's just, like, the class composition of certain areas within the left. And those, of course, are also the areas that get the most attention, because they've got people with the you know, the social and literal capital to get attention. Yes, thank you. They're just padding their resumes. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. It's fucking disgusting, but they are out there. The successful graduates definitely regularly reproduce the managerial mindset. Yeah, I mean, like, class fucking matters, you know? Like, just because someone might have some socialist policies they like, or might even actually be a socialist, might actually have a grasp of what it really entails, it doesn't change the nature of their class, their position in society. Like, it's not gonna magically make them okay. Or, like, magically make them able to sort of relate to and understand the immediate needs of marginalized people. Ooh, pulsating. Very cool. The article was seemingly accusing all students and their mountains of debt as being wannabe managers, and I don't like that part. Yeah. It's a very reductive take. Again, I'm very critical of anything like based in student politics, and again, that is because of the general slant of the student population. But yeah, there are working class people in university, plenty of them. A lot of them are also less likely to join, like, these extracurricular fucking student societies and stuff, because a lot of them are fucking working while they're studying, and they don't have time for that shit to go and play fucking revolutionary while they're at school. So again, those areas of so-called socialist organizing tend to extension core. Ooh, there's electricity between my guys. I don't really know what that means, but that's pretty sick. Can I, like, clothesline this fucking dude with him? Alright, it doesn't seem to be doing that. I don't know. Ah, shit, sorry. Meant to mute it there. I've been a little coffee today. Or the part that called Corbyn and Sanders PMC leftists. As if universal healthcare is bougie and free education for poor people are bougie. Yeah, I mean... That's not a useful critique of Sanders or Corbyn. Criticize them from a place of understanding that they are reforming capitalism. They aren't, like, fundamentally changing the economic system. And those reforms are good, and I think will benefit the working class and our capacity to organize, which is why I fully supported both of them. But that is a substantial critique of them that lends to a better understanding of what they are and what they're doing, as opposed to just being like, yeah, these guys are bougie. Like, that's performative nonsense. Who fucking cares? Okay, maybe I will go pop my thing so I can... I'm pretty sure that thing will give me a hit point. So I'm gonna... Gonna go try to die somewhere. Right here. It was a horrible night to have a curse. I've always said that. There you go. Alright, pop that. So I can at least get the extra hit point. And... Alright, I'm in a decent position now. I got pretty good damage. I've had very little time for my own friends between work and school. I was on the steering committee of my DSA chapter, but I had to step back because of school. Yeah, working class people, like, going to school can be a huge, huge fucking, just drain on their fucking life, because you often have to work at the same time. And again, that's why, like, student organizer types do tend to skew, you know, far more middle class than the actual university population would suggest, because they've got the luxury of just doing shit like that. Baby bender. You're not supposed to bend babies. I think this damages them somewhat. Though I'm not a professional. I could be wrong there. Let's blow this room up. Fuck these guys. Hey Stokes, how you doing? I always worked while going to school. Yeah, most people do. If I go, I'm gonna be trying to go at the same time that my partner does, because we're both kind of thinking about going back to school right now. Because the two of us splitting rent and each having, like, student loans, we could probably live off of that. Whereas if it was just me alone, like, I just wouldn't fucking go, because I'm not able enough to fucking work and do, like, a full degree. It's not gonna fucking happen. At a point, you're just getting into debt to stress yourself out and hurt your self-esteem, because you're gonna fucking fuck something up. Uh-oh. I would like to live, please. Just a crumb of life. Thank you. Oh, shit. What's that thing do? Blow it up. Maybe it's got blood inside it. Nope. The devil, that won't heal me either. Okay. Okay, I am in the danger zone. This'll probably have a heart. Really? Alright. Okay. I see how it is. You get into the danger zone, all of a sudden RNG starts, you know, fucking with you. Okay. Alright. Ooh. I should have saved this for the boss, but I'm hoping I can get through this room and maybe there'll be something. What is this? Pills. Ooh, will he pick up this pill? And oh shit, there's a heart. Fucking nice. Will he pick up this pill and do something with it? No? Alright, he's not one of those? Okay. Well, fuck him then. Freeloader. Alright, let's catching up with the chat here. Worked in a potato factory while living with my mom for 4 years. But to try to mitigate that debt till I was ready to go to university. Christ. Years ago I worked at a boardwalk at a cafe type place where funnel cakes were the most popular. On July 4th, where we'd have a line going out the door, our manager bought us some pizza and cake. The snacks were appreciated, but more pay would have been nicer. Yeah, more pay is always nicer. The stress of dealing with two things at once with no downtime like that would have been bad for me. Yeah, Wingless Monkey, I'm the same. Again, it's a big part of why I didn't go. I'm only just now in a position where it's like I could maybe get away with it. We'll see, you know? I had the idea to work on a vid doc about patch nostalgia and how online games often are impossible to return to a state in a game. Is this like... about like how WoW people were nostalgic for like an earlier version? Is that the kind of thing you're talking about? I dropped out of school in 2012 because I was working 2 jobs at the time. I made the conscious decision to drop to 20 hours a week and go on food stamps and Medicaid so that I could focus on school full time. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like for me, I don't think I could even do 20 hours a week while doing school. Like I cannot hold down full-time jobs very long because I'm fucking disabled. It fucks me up. Like it's very, very bad for me, and I start to deteriorate pretty substantially. So the idea of doing that and school, it's just like, no, it's not gonna fucking happen. But yeah, it is good to hear you're almost done. Also, how often live service games are ever changing without the ability to return to a game state. Yeah, I got a lot of beef with live service games for a lot of reasons. That is certainly one of them. And how much it increasingly puts a barrier between you and actually like owning the game in any meaningful way. And also, it's normally used as an excuse to put out like a shitty game. Like Fallout 76 is an extreme example, but it is an example where they just didn't they didn't make a full game. They released half of the fucking game basically, and they were like, yeah, well, you'll get the rest over the course of the next like couple years. Like that's the thing. It's not like, oh, a game is released and then we're gonna keep supporting it. You know, it's where you're gonna get the game in little bite-sized pieces. Yeah, no, it's fucked that so few of us have a choice. I mean, I made the choice not to go to school because I didn't have a choice about working full-time for a very long time. Because it was one or the other. I guess not really, because Because I wouldn't have been able to support myself going to school. So it was 1, basically. There was that wasn't really even on the table, I guess, is what I should say. Get him, wizard bolts. I don't have enough fucking range. There you are. Two of spades? Alright. I like the brains that just slide around. This'll happen to you. If you listen to too much Ben Shapiro, your brain will just get so big with all the facts. It'll fall right out of your head. Oh, I don't want that shit. Get out of here with that shit. What's this do? Secrets. I like secrets. We'll buy that, however. Ooh. Ooh. What's this do? Pill mimic. Oh, it just gives me a pill effect? Yeah, that's whatever. I'm gonna stick with this. Just wasted money, but whatever. It's all good. With the economy in the state it's in, can you even waste money, you know? Let's go check out this secret room. Wow. Yeah. Really hate how much jobs aren't suited for accommodating disabled people. Most of the jobs I've landed are fast-paced, which is hell for when my blood sugar gets low. Yeah, I mean, we aren't given any consideration at all. Also, Stokes, the answer to that question is if you think you can effectively be funny. If not, don't force it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really make jokes. Maybe a couple. And they'll usually be a little more on the subtle side, I think. I'm not... I just don't really do... Comedy's not my bag, really. Yeah, honestly, one thing that it can be hard for people without like disabilities or chronic illnesses to understand how obstructive and unhelpful doctors can be, you know? Just gonna restart the droid cam for good measure, make sure it's still doing what it's supposed to be doing. Ah, it was frozen. She's up. She's up to something. Right. Off to drop something off for my mother. Alright, Stokes, you have a good day, man. Flippant doctors are a crap thing to deal with. Yeah, it's... No, they're a fucking nightmare. Especially with any, like, mental health stuff, but any disability, really. It's also amazing how much less seriously they take women. Like, they just don't fucking listen at all. Doctors are a fucking pain in the ass. we've allowed doctors to have this kind of class character where they are, it's a very bourgeois job. Even though it is, in function, a service job, you know? But it's like a service job where the customer service agent doesn't listen to you. It doesn't take you seriously at all. And in, you know, in a retail job, that wouldn't really fucking matter, would it? But when it comes to like your health, to your life, it's a pretty fucking big problem. Ooh, don't be dropping none of them bombs on me, buddy. Ooh, no, I don't want either of those. Let's just get the fuck out of this floor so I can see my health again. So many dentists think you can't have knowledge or opinions on teeth without a degree in teeth. It was a very stupid thing. I used to floss a lot more regularly than I do now. But my gums are always kind of shitty. And I've never had a dentist believe me when I told them that I like flossed. And I've noticed, and I don't know if this is related, but I've noticed that I just have not been as like consistent with it for like years. Ever since that happened a couple times. I was like, hey, well, fuck it then, fuck you. Which is just an idiotic way to respond to that, because it only hurts me, but it's just something I've noticed I've kind of unwittingly done. Ooh, Jesus. Fucking hate these things. Oh, so this baby just drops pills on me. I guess if I ever find the thing that lets me see what pills do, that could be alright. Ooh, shit. That's not a good place to be. I'm gonna keep my cable. Fuck. Get away from me. Ooh. Shit. Alright, alright. Time to be... Whoop, whoop, whoop. The sun, perfect. Bailed out in the fucking nick of time. Yeah, give me this fire rate up. I like that one. A favorite mushroom of mine. What else can you give me? Justice. And that gives me a bunch of items. Yep, I like items. Items are cool. How we doing time-wise? 19. Fuck this. Let me in here. I don't think I'm gonna beat her fast enough. Let's see. Now my damage is still pretty shitty. That's okay. I was trying to get things with I was trying to get things with my my meat sphere, my mute cube thing, and I ended up getting hit a lot because of it. That was dumb.
Be like the sun, and what is within you will warm the earth.
Flossing too hard might be rubbing up against your gums and hurting them. I probably floss too hard, to be fair. Okay, item. Money equals damage. Great. Not gonna spend any money then. Easy. Fucking get off me. Oh boy. Yes, I will take 1 heart, please. Thank you. To nourish me in this trying time for my journey. I like the sick glasses. I should get a pair of those. Just become the fucking worst human being possible. I've never had a cavity in my life. Nice. I've had shit tons. My enamel is made out of garbage. I don't know. If I could get, like, good... shit, what do you call them? They're not dentures. It's when they, like, drill... They put, like, a base in your fucking gum that you can just drill a fake tooth into. I'd go for a full set of those if I could afford it. Make them like... I'd want them made out of something fucking hard. Like, I want to be able to bite things that would normally, like, that would break a normal tooth, you know? Perhaps a metal compound of some kind. Provided it wouldn't irritate the inside of my mouth, you know? I think that'd be pretty sick. Ooh, I got flight now. All the cool kids are doing it. Hell yeah, that makes this room easier. Fuck yeah. Alright, I got a good feeling about this run. I'm flying around on my cool horse. Ooh, shit. I'm trying not to get hit too much. You can tell my horse is cool because it has no name. Yeah, so my big thing is that teeth are fucking disgusting, and it just feels like we shouldn't have them. You know what I mean? What if we just didn't? Like, would it be so hard for us to just, like, mash up our food with our hands before eating it? You know? Not so much to ask. Fucking millennials. Can't put in any work for anything, huh? Oh no, I want to fly. Fuck this. And that's why I don't trust dentists. You shouldn't. They're up to no good. I don't trust anyone who chooses to become a dentist. That seems pretty fucking weird. Ooh, money button. Whoop. I need phantom tears so I can just, like, attack through the fucking walls and shit. Or spectral or whatever. Is this still the same? Yeah, right, okay. So, yeah, all this money I've got, that should be making me mighty, mighty strong. I mean, I enjoy crunch too, but eventually you just gotta weigh up the pros and cons, you know? Ooh, yeah, if teeth fell out and regrew continually, that would be really useful if we were able to just keep growing it back. Because then, yeah, if you fuck one up, if you break one, no problem. Let that fucker fall out. Get a new one in. God, that would be way better than our system where you get 2 pairs. And one of them is gonna fall out no matter what. And then your main pair of teeth, that's it. That's all you're ever gonna get. If you fuck it, that's a you problem, baby. Yeah, sure. We'll do it this way. Trying very hard not to get hit so I can get another devil room and use up my remaining hearts probably. God damn, get hit. Fucking the hitboxes of some flying enemies a little hard for my brain to fucking comprehend for some reason. There you are. Oh hey Andrew, you want to hop on? Hold on, let me make sure I'm in the Discord in the first place. I've heard it might be possible to render us all immune to cavities. Yeah, put fluoride in the water, man. Turn those frogs gay. this over here.
I think. Am I in now?
Yeah, you are in. How you doing?
Okay, cool.
Oh,
I can hear could hear a feedback from me on the Twitch. Hello?
hey, hello.
How goes things?
Pretty good, man. I'm just creeping, you know? Just creeping around, being a weird fucking, I don't know what I'm playing in this game, like a baby? Little baby guy, you know?
Good.
Yeah, it's very good. How's it going? How, are you feeling, like, old?
A little bit.
Yeah. That's...
I don't know, how is Skittles feeling older?
Yeah, Skittles is feeling very, like, wise in her old age, you know? She every day she's giving me this new nugget of wisdom. Most of it, I think, is trying to trick me into giving her more treats. Yeah, typical. So yeah, I was hoping, if you're up for it, to talk a bit about about Food Not Bombs and about like food programs as a thing. You know?
Yeah, sure.
'Cause
That sounds like a productive conversation.
Yeah, because well, how? I mean, you know, you don't have to reveal too much about yourself here, but like, how long you been doing Food Not Bombs?
About just over 3 years, I think. I've been going to Food Not Bombs.
Right.
Bit of a weird way it started, actually. I just suddenly decided one day to get up and go to the social center, because I'd been told about it by another anarchist.
Okay.
And yeah, I was like, well, you know, I'll check out their library or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went down, and just coincidentally, like the day they were down there painting banners for, I think it was like a Monday. So they were painting banners, getting ready for it the next day. And that was just the day I came down. I was like, yeah, it was just a coincidence, and I've been sort of going ever since.
Okay, that's cool. What did you sort of think of it when you first started? Like, did it leave much of an impression, or?
Yeah, certainly. It definitely makes you take a very different outlook to food waste, and how that actually comes about. Because I think a lot of people have this idea that lots of food is wasted because, you know, the peppers don't look the right shape or something like that, and that's not really the reason why a lot of food goes to waste.
Right.
It's more to do with like arbitrary sell-by dates, or if something gets like a dent in the can, then it's going to be thrown out.
Right. Yeah.
If there's any kind of liability with the company, then they'll throw it out. Basically, it's nothing to do with the shape of things. Generally speaking, like wobbly foods tend to get put into mixes, like jars of pasta, you know.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to tell it was a lumpy tomato made that?
Yeah, or any of the like the pre-made or pre-cut like salads and stuff you can get at stores and shit. Yeah.
It definitely had some impact on me on sort of how I guess viewed also like it had an impact on how I viewed food as it relates to politics as well.
Right.
Because a lot of because what Food Not Bombs was trying to do was make vegan food, and there was a variety of reasons for this. The one I usually end up saying to people when they say, "Oh, why are you making vegan food? Surely you want to make appealing food." The line I always go with is, well, it's safer, which is pretty true for the most part. It's safer to use recycled vegetables than it is to use reclaimed vegetables than it is to use reclaimed meat.
It's much lower risk.
Dairy, you're probably going to be fine with because it's pasteurized, but it's going to taste absolutely vile.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time we got some kefir from there, and I remember opening it and it fizzed everywhere.
Oh, fuck that.
Kefir is like a drink, yogurt drink. It's an Arabic yogurt drink, and I remember I had a bottle of it. It was out of date. I was like, well, it's pasteurized. It'll be fine. Oh no.
Yeah. Is that is making vegan food something that's across the board with Food Not Bombs, or is it just the branch you're in, or
the branch I'm in?
Okay.
Generally across the board, they tend to be vegetarian at least.
Right. Okay.
Because
I know there's tons in America and stuff. I don't know what they get up to because.
From what I've understand online, it tends to be vegetarian at least.
Okay.
But a lot of them are vegan.
Right.
As in terms of how it maybe look at food politics as well. For instance, like another reason for it to be vegetarian or vegan is because you can generally have healthier options that way.
Yeah.
When there were a lot of other charity groups around, doing a similar thing that was very nice, but it was usually just very basic food that they were giving out that was probably not leading to a nutritious diet. And that's one of the nice things I think about Food Not Bombs is that sometimes we do sort of think about like, okay, well, what can we make for a source of protein here? If it's a cold day, we'll be like trying to make very stodgy food, lots of potatoes, lots of root vegetables.
Yeah.
To keep you like warm through the winter.
Yeah, I know that there's like I don't know if they're a church thing or whatever that goes out there sometimes. They've always just got like shitty like sausage rolls and stuff, and it's like it's sort of garbage. Like, if you're hungry, you don't give a shit. But it's like you could probably go for something a little more substantial. The standard English diet isn't the most nutritious thing that's ever been fucking thought up.
It's just something approximating meat wrapped in pastry.
Yeah, it's
covered in tangy sauce.
Oop. Died in the game there. Sorry. That's fine. Yeah, no, it's no. Honestly, some of the stuff that gets kind of that gets made by Food Not Bombs, I think is really interesting because you've got limited ingredients, right? You've got what the store gives you.
Yeah, you're very limited in what you can sort of make. So I think one of the things to do is definitely have don't just think in terms of like we'll meet up and like we'll just cook something. It's like you need to sort of look at your ingredients as well. You need to have, it takes us about an hour to sort through ingredients and what can be used, what can be thrown away. That ends up being, that's probably the bit I dread the most. Unfortunately, it's the very first thing we have to do.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, isn't it?
But also, I think ways that it makes you think about food and politics is like there tends to be this judgment of people on the street that like there seems to be like certain people who do come up and say like, well, I'm not going to have any. It's only the most desperate who need it.
Yeah.
There is this like I think there's this assumption that poverty only exists in this hyper Dickensian form where you need to be covered in soot and just like skinnier than me to qualify for for any kind of mutual aid or charity.
There was, I think it was a Tory MP said a while ago that like poverty doesn't exist in the UK anymore.
Wow.
And it's, I mean, yeah, part of it is because Tories are in government and they just want to like lie, but also I think to some degree they probably believe that because they're thinking of like this cartoonish, almost like Dickensian poverty, and being like, well, I haven't seen a Tiny Tim around lately, so we're fine. It's
but
very
back in the day, they would have. I think their criteria for poverty, basically, it will go back like a century. Will be the Tory criteria for poverty will always be a century behind.
Yeah. So it makes them completely incapable of like seriously assessing what's going on in the country at any given point. Of course. Yeah.
I think one of the nice things about Food Not Bombs is it can be a very good entry point for activism as well. That's sort of how it was for myself. Through Food Not Bombs, I got into various other groups as well. Sort of anti-fascism was something that I got into. I remember when the EDL marched through Liverpool and they got chased out to the Benny Hill music. That was something that we were talking about as well, and we were discussing, should we try and be there at this event? Maybe we could, try and talk to them. They're like, well, when they're actually out marching is not the time.
Yeah.
And I remember we were giving out leaflets from the anti-fascist network, trying to urge people to come along to stop the EDL as well. So it can be a good space for introducing people to like new ideas as well, because it has this very visceral thing about it. It's very hard to challenge it as a good thing to do. Despite some people genuinely do try to challenge you on what you're doing.
It's certainly an easy position to defend, at least.
Yeah. So you don't have to go through as much mental work of like, well, how much time do I want to spend on this? How much do I want to get involved? What do I think of the people there? Because you're doing what is, unarguably a good thing.
Yeah, it's like, no, we're feeding people. Fuck off. Like, it's a short conversation.
Yeah. I mean, and also that's good for like inviting people in as well. I think Food Not Bombs is an excellent starting point for building power in other things as well.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a big part of why I try to encourage people who don't really know where to start. Join a fucking food program, like find a Food Not Bombs. Like that's, I think it's good. So I think that's a good thing to have as like a foundation to your political organizing, just like fundamentally like providing for people. To what extent do you think something like Food Not Bombs can be incorporated into like an even more radical program?
I think that sort of largely depends on what your expectations for it are.
Yeah.
I think it can be used for networking other political programs like unions or anti-fascist groups or animal rights groups as well. But also, one of the things that sort of happened with our Food Not Bombs is we ended up, because there was quite a lot of food, we ended up having doing like bits of catering for other things as well. And so through that, you can network into other things like book fair groups and like film nights as well. You'll find that you'll probably have like food left over at some point and needs using. So catering for these events is also a good way to sort of see what they're about as well. Because you're going to end up picking up a few cooking skills here and there at something like Food Not Bombs, I think.
Yeah, I should hope so, at least.
It is. I think it's a very good way to find out sort of what the pulse is on your local activist scene, basically.
Yeah.
It will be a very it's a very broad thing. It spans quite a lot of things. It spans like this class thing as well because it's a mutual aid group.
Mm-hmm.
It might stroke someone's insurrectionist inner illegalist. That's it. Because sometimes people who do these things in video games, they steal food from the bins in video games.
Yes, which obviously, we don't endorse, of course.
We don't endorse that, no. And the group I do does not do that. They get it donated
Nice.
by a local shop.
Yeah.
But also you've got an ecological angle there as well, because food waste lead because of high production of food that we're not all eating. It's that's not good for the environment. It's probably a bad idea to make all this stuff and then just chuck it away. 'Cause,
Yeah.
the tin was dented.
Well, the tin was dented,
Yeah. Who's gonna buy a dented tin?
Who's gonna
Not
buy
me.
it? Well, probably a lot of people now. It's a fucking nightmare trying to get ingredients for stuff I'm trying to make. Yeah, one of the first things I did when I moved into town was look up Food Not Bombs, because it's like, all right, well, this is gonna be where people are. I can figure out what the fuck's happening in this city. Now, it's definitely you're right about it being a good place to sort of get the pulse of the area.
Yeah, and I think another reason why it's such a good sort of thing for bread pilling people, for want of a better word,
Sure.
is that it underlines so many issues and contradictions in capitalist society. That we have this abundance of food, but we don't have an abundant distribution system. We have this but this also this abundant distribution, abundant production is incredibly damaging to the environment. But I'm not taking full advantage of this abundant production. We're just it's additional waste. It's that's doing further harm. So it underlines some of the things that it very much viscerally breaks down some of the myths that you have about the herbs sort of force-fed to you, like a goose being fed for pate, that capitalism is really, really efficient and really productive forces. You can understand, it's a productive force, it's produced all these things, but nobody's allowed to have it.
Yeah.
Until the very end, when we can nab some of it and the day before it goes off.
Yeah, and sometimes, like you were saying before, some of these groups end up having to turn to illegal means, even to get it, because otherwise, it would just get fucking binned.
But if you are intending to acquire these things through such means in your Minecraft server, the certain things that you need to be aware of is that obviously, even if you think, well, I'm just going into bins, that is still a no bueno in the eyes of the law. It's still technically trespassing. It's still technically, maybe technically stealing. I don't know about that, but it's definitely at least trespassing.
You can get done, or at least in the States, I think you can get a lot of shit for stealing. So yeah, it's it is. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it is very much illegal, and therefore carries some dangers.
Also, sometimes some supermarkets are quite vindictive, and they will pour some kind of poison onto their bins, like bleach or a rat poison, things like that, which will make it inedible. So if you're checking for these things whilst on the lookout for zombies or other things that happen in Minecraft, be also on the lookout for bleach.
Yeah, it's a really fucking shit
Creepers,
policy.
that was the
But
word. Yeah, you need to be on the lookout for bleach also whilst you're checking your back for creepers as you do this in Minecraft.
Yeah, you should know the policies of chains and stuff, and sort of who dumps fucking poison and who doesn't and stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, one of the reasons why I think there was another group that I was aware of that did used to take from bins. They did eventually stop because I think it got too unreliable. And also they could start getting donations as well. I think what was done was they were seeing with food out first that they had taken from bins, and people recognized the good thing they were doing and said, oh, if you want, certain shops, small businesses did say, oh, if you want, we can donate some of our food as well. And so that became a regular source of food, and the more unreliable source was eventually left by the wayside.
That makes sense. It's good that some fucking shops, had the decency to fucking step up and be like, oh, well, we're literally fucking throwing it out anyway, so I guess you can have it.
I've noticed it's never been the big chains.
No, of course
usually not. It's usually the small shops that will do that. So I think the one we get from it might be a chain. I'm not sure, but it's like a really small foreign foods chain. I think it's like a franchise.
Okay.
Not a chain, but
yeah, no,
still.
I like the mom and pop store. I like these small businesses. Like I was briefly in North Manchester. I was trying to get something similar to Food Not Bombs going, and at least in the winter we were having trouble getting like food. But in the winter we were trying to go around at least and like give out like gloves and fucking scarves and shit and make sure people had coats. And we went to just like these like small shops and just told them what we were doing, and like we got free shit from them and stuff. Like I think that random dickheads who open shops aren't necessarily fucking evil capitalists. Well, they are by what they're doing, but not in their intent, and like they want to feel like they're part of their community and not being a net negative to everything around them. So usually you can get them to help you out, the people who own these small businesses anyway.
Yeah, usually. And it's that's just, as you say, one method of acquiring it.
Yeah.
If push comes to shove, you can buy it, I suppose. Like that's happened to me once, where I was like, I'll buy whatever's on the thingy aisle, out of pocket.
Yeah, I know that we every now and then will like go spend a few bucks on stuff or just for things that aren't going to be donated necessarily, like containers to serve food in and stuff.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, the thing with the donation box is that I'm always a bit wary of that, because I'm always like conscious to say we don't ask for donations. If you want to donate, that's absolutely fine, but we're not out with a charity box, because I think there is actually legislation when it comes to having a charity box and asking people for donations. I don't think so. If you have a charity box, this is a reason why you don't see people around with those anymore. You used to see a fair few around, but I think there was scam artists used to use a similar thing, similar style boxes and for fake charities. Right. Whereas now what charitable organizations will do is they'll have people who will sign you up for things instead.
Yeah, so, they're all about their like direct debits and shit now.
Because you can verify their registration that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're starting a Food Not Bombs group, and it's going to be useful to have some money to buy the few odds and sods. If you do, there's nothing necessarily wrong with taking money off the public, but just be aware that there is legislation for being a charity.
Make it clear that you aren't one and you're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck charities anyway. I mean.
Yeah. generally just like, I mean, my experience of working with a charitable organization was kind of negative. I worked with a hate crime.
A charity to do more hate crimes.
Yeah, it's just like we feel there's not enough hate crimes.
We support hate crimes in your neighborhood.
No, it was a local charity that honestly I think is like, you know, it does a pretty nice thing for supporting victims of hate crimes.
Yeah.
However, I did get a feeling that a lot of what the charities do is just kind of sustain each other by passing casework back and forth,
right,
between themselves, the state, quangos, etc. I don't feel I was very useful in that setting, to be honest, because I sometimes get anxiety, and that's probably not the first thing someone on the other end of the phone who's just been the victim of a hate crime wants to deal with.
Yeah, maybe not.
Like,
maybe not.
Hey, yeah, my window's just been smashed in, and they've just called me, blah, 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 blah. Right, okay, where's your place? Hang on a second, I just need a moment to breathe.
Can you stop talking about all these hate crimes? They're making me really anxious.
How do you think I feel, motherfucker?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like, as I said, a lot of what was going on did feel like it was passing back and forth things between the state, between different private sectors, as they sort of, their capacity to deal with certain things sort of met its limits.
Right.
And when it meets limits, sort of gets, other people get brought, multi-agency groups get brought in, state actors get brought in, and it becomes an increasingly bureaucratic process. One that is almost impossible to get things done. I went to one multi-agency meeting where I was trying to present one case for someone who wanted to move, and they were unhappy with the property they were first given, and so I was like, yeah, so they were thinking about maybe moving somewhere else, and the police guy was like, yeah, well, that's the only thing we can offer, so moving on. And that was it. I was like, that was my entire day. Like, my entire day was pretty much centered around going to this meeting, talking about this case, and that was it. That was gone, and I was like, wow, that was a huge waste of time for me. And for, like, pretty much almost all of the people in my agency. It felt very flippant. Just the dismissal, I was like, okay.
Yeah, that sucks. Oh, thank you for coming, by the way, Breadstick. You have a good day. All right, someone just hopped out there.
Bye-bye. But yeah, so when people ask me things like, well, why don't people just, when they say very unsympathetic things about the homeless and about other people in desperate situations, you know, why don't they just go to charities? Why don't they just get the state to help you? I usually feel like, well, do you know what those systems are like? Usually when you're in the most desperate of situations, you're going to encounter the limits of what that system's capacity can manage.
Yeah.
And that capacity is being shrunk increasingly. So I think the capacity for help and solidarity needs to be expanded by the people.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand how easy it is to fall through the cracks of our social programs as they exist now. You can't count on the state for these things. I was once very nearly homeless here. I remember trying to like get housing, and they had just this huge, crazy list of criteria, and one of the big ones was I'm trying to remember. I think it was something like you need to have either a job or a relative in the town to be eligible for like council housing there. And I was like, I don't have a fucking job. That's why I'm trying to get like housed. And And I didn't have any relative there, so it was just like, if I was lucky that I think I found a job quite shortly after, and then I ended up just like privately renting after that, because I had a job at that point. But if I hadn't, like, I would have been fucked. It's like, specifically because I didn't have a job, which seems like, yeah, it seems like not having an income should make me like most urgently on this list instead of disqualified. But that's the policy.
It kind of goes against all the sort of the logic you hear about means testing benefit systems, doesn't it?
Yeah, means testing is always just a system to refuse benefits to people who need it. Like, it's means testing is the liberal like justification for not giving people what they need. Yeah, I'm sure every policy that the new Labour government or new Labour Party opposes or proposes, that's the word, it is going to be means tested versions of ones that they had under Corbyn. It's going to be great. Don't vote for Keir Starmer, by the way, folks. Just don't do it. Love yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself to not voting for a Blairite. Can't stress enough.
You can have a little bit spoiled ballot as a treat.
Little spoiled ballot as a treat. Yeah. I don't know. If I bother turning up, maybe I'll see if there's anything
I had a
funny
friend who said they voted for everybody so that no one would feel bad.
Just tick every box. There you go. That's very kind. Maybe I'll write in something stupid.
Though apparently there was the 2017 election, there were ballots that were said something like I'm voting for Brexit were counted as Tory votes.
Really?
It wasn't that many, but it was like a handful in one county.
In one, that seems like something they would do. That's funny. Yeah, fucking good country, good political brains on everyone.
Yeah. But anyway, back to sort of food not bombs.
Yeah.
Was there any is there anything else you want to go over with it?
Yeah, I just wanted to hear like a bit about your experience and a bit about
so I think I can maybe talk about some of the peculiar people we've met who've actually tried to challenge what we were doing.
Oh, that would be interesting. Go for it.
So I have like three stories of like weird reactionaries that we've met whilst doing Food Not Bombs. Is we had one fella come up to us and say, "Oh, I like the idea of what you're doing, but all this means people are going to do is they're going to spend all the money on drugs instead." And then he pointed to one guy who just comes regularly and said, "Look at him! Look at the state of him!" And we're like, "Do you even know him?
Yeah.
Like, how can you make these judgments?"
Also, like, if I had to fucking sleep outside, man, I'd want to get some drugs in me too. Fucking leave them be. Fuck off.
Like I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize, like, is that alcoholism can like kill you if you don't have alcohol. Alcohol withdrawal is actually very deadly.
Yeah, I fucking know someone who died from the withdrawals. It's crazy what can happen to you. Like, no, it's really fucked. Like, no, it's if they need a drink, give them a fucking drink. Like, again, they're fucking living on the streets. Like. No, it's just it feeds into this like ridiculous individualist idea that was like, if you weren't spending money on booze or whatever, then you wouldn't be homeless. Like, oh man, you must have a cheap fucking rent then if that's enough to even you out.
Yeah. But I mean, you could always argue that like, well, they could actually save the money to buy more food, maybe.
Yeah.
But that was something that one person said, which was kind of weird. It was like, well, you don't seem like the kind of person who'd give money to homeless people anyway, because you'd use that excuse.
Yeah. Also, plenty of calories in booze. That's food. Booze is food. I'm sorry. No, but yeah, it's
Booze, not bombs.
booze, not bombs. We're just become an open bar. Oh fuck! The cops would be on us quick.
Yeah.
That would
Would be a lot
rule.
more popular though.
Would be a lot more popular.
There have been lots of people who've made that joke where they said, "Have you got a few cans?" And you go, "Oh no, sorry, the busies would be on us."
Yeah, yeah. Because they hate fun.
Then there was one time when there was a woman. We've had like two. It might have been the same woman came up to us, like a year apart. So this woman came up to us once, and she was having to go at one of the people there for wearing an anti-fascist T-shirt. This was like in 2017, when like Antifa panic was sort of kind of at its zenith.
Yeah.
Like people don't really talk that much about it as much anymore. Like you still find people doing it, but like that was the peak of like the anti-fascists are like the real fascists. That kind of where you'd have like 6-hour-long Google Hangouts with people like talking shit about Antifa in various areas.
I wonder why they got tired of that.
I don't know. I think maybe like 2018, like late 2018.
No, I mean why? Like I wonder why they got tired of that. Like,
I mean, I guess there's only so many 6-hour streams you can do.
I don't know. These fuckers are pretty good at getting blood out of a stone. I wonder if it just. I think that for a little while they enjoyed a lot of mainstream media support. I think a big part of it was that like the main networks got fucking tired of talking about it, because there was a while where they were really fear mongering about it, and then all the like right wing YouTubers and stuff.
Yeah, they
got
just
on
sort of
it,
parasitically fed off that.
Yeah, but yeah, the press got bored, and anti-fascists never actually did anything, obviously, so there was never any real stories. And
Yeah.
fascists kept doing terrorism, so they had to report on that, and I guess it just got untenable to keep doing their narrative.
So with that situation, it was kind of interesting because I was actually very sleep deprived at the time.
Right.
I'd been doing a night shift, but I was on a weird adrenaline kick. Because that can happen if you're sleep deprived. Eventually, your body just is like, "Oh, you're still awake. Well, have these chemicals then."
Yeah, I've had that happen before. You get like weirdly fucking hyped up and.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I think I'll handle this, and it was just...
I'll handle this!
I just went in and just like, acted like Destiny for a bit, and was just like, no, this is why you're wrong about all these things. Whilst everyone else was just like, we're just going to keep going, doing what we're doing, so long as... So I remember after that, we were like, I wonder if we should work out like a system for like... Because obviously, quite a few people end up wanting to talk to you, and sometimes, they want to say nice things, or maybe give you a bit of money, or just say thank you, or ask more general questions. But then sometimes you will get people who like do come up and start sort of espousing weird guff, and that's kind of what happened with this person and with another person who started going on about David Icke conspiracy theories.
Who is that again? I always forget who that is.
I didn't know it at first. They're the person who popularized the Lizard Man conspiracy.
Oh, that's a classic. That's vintage anti-Semitism.
And they were grossly offended when one of my comrades said David Icke's an anti-Semite. And there unfortunately wasn't much of us out, so they could zero in on this person, and they were very abusive. And so I said, so he said, well, they were saying, you're too young to be closed-minded. You're too young to be closed-minded. And I said, well, you've done a very good job of opening our minds to all these ideas now. So piss off, and we'll have a good think about them. We can't exactly think about our idea, your big clever ideas, whilst you're stood here berating us, can you?
See, this is why everyone at Food Not Bombs needs to lift, so you can all be the bouncers you need to be.
True.
For when the David Icke Defense Force rolls out.
To be fair, they're not exactly like the Swolitaria either.
I can imagine.
there's not exactly much muscle mass to be gained in making cork boards with full of pictures of lizard people and the royals. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It means my cork board is sadly not exercising me.
I've been thinking about sorry, before I go on, have you had any other weirdos come up and give you a hard time, or?
I mean, that's kind of the most of it. I think the most frequent kind, I would say, is well-meaning Christians do come up and give you a very long spiel about Christ and God.
Oh man, I haven't had one of those yet. I love those guys.
They're very nice,
Yeah.
but it's like, after a while, it's like, okay, I do actually have some work to do here.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a dick about it. I don't know. I just like talking to them like I'm an idiot and just seeing if they like cotton on. They never do. I don't know.
It'd be nice
great.
if like they say like, have you heard of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? And you just turn around and go, no, never.
I can be saved? Thank fuck. Tell me some more about this. Listen to me. I got bailiffs calling me like every fucking day. I'm in a lot of trouble. Do you have this guy's number? What's up?
Yeah, I've literally never heard of this Jesus guy. Like, what did he do?
Can he help with my gains? I'm trying to go to the gym more. But yeah, just be a fucking idiot.
Can he help me beat the Tauros demon?
Can you help me beat the Tauros demon? Absolute. I'm trying to get good over here. Can you help with that? Yeah, honestly, they have an incredible social endurance for somebody obviously being an idiot. They'll just power right through. I fear and respect their ability to do this.
Yeah. But I mean, I've not been involved with Food Not Bombs since lockdown because I work with vulnerable people, so I wanted to try and reduce the amount of time I'm spending outside. But from what I understand, it's still going with like a skeleton crew, and it's very limited. Like, not really taking in new people. It's using a lot of focusing a lot on social distancing and not a communal thing anymore. That's one of the things that I felt made Food Not Bombs very different to a lot of the charity groups. Is it was very much like a communal experience,
right?
Because we'd set up around benches and not tables, but we have tables and we'd set up near benches. So and offer like plastic bowls to eat out of as well as takeaway tins, so that if you want, you can stay and eat and maybe have a chat with us. Here's badmouth the Tories for a bit,
Yeah.
And I remember this was something that I think is also like a good way to sort of build maybe little bits of community as well. Especially if you can bring some of those people in to be like, oh, well, this is part of a social center. There's might be other things that might be going on there, other mutual aid projects like People's Kitchen, for instance.
Yeah.
Which is usually held in social centers. There'll be a meal that's donation on entry. And yeah, it's just you pitch in with like the washing up and stuff. And the tidying, and that's fundamentally it. It's just you go in for a communal meal and stuff, and that's another thing that you can like make people aware of.
Yeah.
Obviously, can't really do it now, but when lockdown is over, that's something that obviously people can be made aware of. That is not just good for homeless people, but also just good for like all working class people as well. There's been a few times where Food Not Bombs has been like just my meal for the day, and I've been like, well, this has been good because I didn't have a whole lot of money on me, so this has saved me spending, a $5 at least, or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely been that for me as well, at least a couple of times. I haven't really been keeping up with the chat super well, but it looks like they're talking about J20.
I can't really see because I've switched off Twitch because I kept hearing myself and you come back.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah. Someone in the chat, Master Blastoise, was among those arrested, I think. Got out of jail after 36 hours of no food and no sleep, and I log into the internet and see everyone who I thought was my comrade shit-talking J20. Who the fuck was shit-talking J20?
Yeah, who were these dickheads?
Tell them to fucking square up today. Also, thank you for your service, Master Blastoise.
Yes.
Jail support is severely underrated. That is correct.
I give you you can't see it, but I'm doing the CNT salute for you. Which is fist to the head.
Damn right.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was thinking. I remember I was thinking about the other day was when Badmouse deleted his channel.
Oh yeah, what was that about? Do you know what the fuck?
I don't know. I think it's just he was just sort of disliking being a public political figure, maybe, and I don't know. I've not really. I don't really know. I didn't really see any updates from him about it.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, that was something that he was really sort of at the time was a very brave, like kind of brave thing to do, to stick his neck out and say, yeah, it was a good thing that people were making black blocs and charging the police and breaking Starbucks windows in Minecraft.
Yeah,
these are all things that he was applauding people doing on Minecraft servers, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And he was.
I'm definitely going to end up getting your channel TOS.
I know. That's all right.
Oh no.
Probably just start a new one. K and Skittles Reloaded.
Praxis all happens in Minecraft.
Yeah.
That's what praxis means. It means things that you do in Minecraft.
Yeah, we don't endorse any illegal bad things. This is
we
a
don't
good
endorse
Christian
anything.
stream.
We just endorse playing on Minecraft.
We fucking love Minecraft. All right.
But yeah, I think one of the things about Food Not Bombs that it's one thing. It's a very easy thing to get into comparatively.
Yeah.
Because the level of it's never, the coordination's usually pretty simple. Like when you're coordinating something like an anti-fascist rally, there's a lot of things to consider when coordinating that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to consider sort of what your legal position is. If anyone else is using the protest, is if there's been a legal what's the word? Permission asked for a counter demo area, whether you're going to be using that. How do you want to move groups of people as well? And so coordinating with Food Not Bombs, I would say in comparison to things like that or things like Rent Strike is relatively easy. I mean, it's easier for our group because it's fairly central. So I don't know how it would be for other groups, but if you're near a social center, then I feel it should be relatively easy to coordinate. I mean, all you really need is a kitchen, a source of food, and willing volunteers, and
yeah,
from there, everything else is just things that make that process more convenient.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, the social center is really good. I imagine, like, worst case scenario, if it was a small group and you so that you knew and trusted the people coming, you could probably do it out of like your kitchen. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to get a new food not bomb started with a few people. But yeah, it is definitely it's a low investment sort of thing to start doing.
And I don't even know if it's necessarily a social center or your own kitchen. There's probably like social enterprises, are also things that might help out with that.
What is a social enterprise?
These are things that are not really social centers. They're like community projects, but they are enterprise. Like, they're still businesses, so they still aim to turn a profit. If that makes sense. So I think they get small grants from the government. I think. I don't really know much about them. Hang on, I'll actually look up this term. But from my understanding, there's like one near me, and if I was to ask, feel pretty confident that they would be okay with one, a food not bombs that's like uses their kitchen.
Right.
Type of organization with social objectives.
I love a good social objective.
This may include maximizing social impact alongside profits for co-owners. Yeah, so it's sort of like a it's sort of a for-profit enterprise that here we are in the UK. It has a legal definition, I think. Government-backed definition of a social enterprise used in the UK. Social enterprise sector bodies include a business with the primary social objectives whose surplus are principally reinvested for that purpose. If that makes sense.
Right. So most of the profits are reinvested into the business. Is that what it's
Yeah. So it said in the British context, social enterprises include community enterprises such as credit unions, trading arms of charities, employee-owned businesses, cooperatives, development trusts, housing associations, and social firms and leisure trusts. So yeah, things that still are aiming to turn a profit, I would say, that are using the profit that they turn for mostly for community projects. So a cooperative, I would say, yeah, it does fit that. For instance, the one in the bookshop co-op in Liverpool, I would say, does fit that definition of a social enterprise, because it seems like the best kind of economic charity that it seems like it's the best way of fitting a solidarity circle into a capitalism-shaped square hole.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It seems like an attempt to do that. Anyway, those exist in a lot of communities. Some of them might be run by large charities. But if they have a kitchen, then I think it's definitely worth asking if you can use it like once a week regularly, or once a month, or however often you're able to commit to. All
right. Yeah, I know at least Manchester was absolutely fucking filthy with these things. So it's, yeah, I would hope that they'd be accommodating. Yeah, what's your view on like co-ops and stuff? I know you mentioned that a second ago. That's a type of these enterprises, I guess.
I have mixed feelings on cooperatives. I get the feeling people tend to, particularly maybe anarchists, have a tendency to fetishize cooperatives a little bit.
Right.
The focus on democratizing the workplace kind of does take away from, like, okay, but we do realize why markets are kind of bad, don't we?
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, people are just not willing to think about that part. And that is something that I can see as being, like, quite a slippery slope back into liberalism.
I feel like a lot of the appeal comes from it feels like an achievable goal, I guess, because the entire all of industry could be replaced by like cooperative businesses, and like you wouldn't actually have to like capitalist property relations and everything could still be maintained. So I feel like it feels like a small achievable thing compared to like fundamentally changing the way the economy is ordered. And I think that definitely can attract people to just like really like zooming in on that.
Oh yeah, I mean, if there was, if there was to be some sort of situation where we were able to maybe seize control of our own workplaces, I feel like cooperatives would be like the step that would familiarize people most with the concept of of what we're going for with socialism or communism. It would be a familiarizing process, but it's certainly it's something that I think there needs to be an awareness of, like, why markets can be fundamentally bad, why profit, the profit motive is kind of this very toxic thing.
Yeah.
And it's something that does concern me, that if we have reached that point where we're making more cooperatives, where people are like, well, we can put on the brakes now, and then we sort of kind of revert back a bit, because cooperatives can start to become more like traditional capitalist businesses,
right.
Especially if they become larger, because what they're good at is weathering long-term economic damage. For instance, the bookshop in Liverpool has been around for, I think over 30 years now.
Right.
Whereas Waterstones? There was a Waterstones on that street, a really big one, and it's gone.
Right.
Huge capitalist business outlasted by a dinky cooperative. But the dinky cooperative it's not good at expanding.
Right.
I think maybe some people might be like, well, why isn't it working kind of the same way, but with it's not working the same way, but with democracy? And I feel like people might be like, well, maybe disappointed, and maybe they'll want to sort of like, well, maybe we should focus on growing the co-op model. Oh, that was something I remember thinking when I was researching my Extinction Rebellion video. I found Roger Hallam. He was involved in Radical Roots, and he had this proposition for Radical Roots. Radical Roots, for those who don't know, it's basically it's a federation of housing cooperatives in the UK. I don't know about other countries.
Yeah.
And they use some of the funds to help set up new housing co-ops. However, one of the things that if you come to them with a project to set up a housing cooperative, they might help you set some of that up with a small interest loan, like a very, 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 very small interest loan. Basically, you'll be spending a huge amount of time paying off like pennies on this loan. But one of the propositions that Roger Hallam had with the intention of expanding Radical Roots' funds was to make a clause in the Radical Roots agreement. So when you got a loan off them, that when your mortgage was paid off to them, you would then remortgage. And so that you basically just be paying this mortgage constantly and constantly and constantly remortgaging. I mean, you probably only have to do this like once or twice, considering how low that interest on that mortgage is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was looking at this and I was like, that's rent. That's rent.
Yeah, that's just rent.
It's very cool that you want to turn, something that's meant to be developing affordable housing into landlordism.
Yeah, I actually looked into Radical Roots years ago, because I was interested in sort of seeing how far we could get, basically, under current conditions, and trying to make housing a cooperative thing. And I think I was very quickly relieved of any notion that there was much of that at all. Because
the remortgaging thing wasn't. Sorry.
Oh, it wasn't even because of that. Just like I spoke to some people from it, and I guess I was expecting a more radical political mentality behind it. But a lot of it was just like old hippies and shit. It's like they were, like a lot of these people weren't even like really socialists or anarchists or anything. And I was just like, what is this? Like, I guess it wasn't the thing I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be something a lot more serious. And it's like, I think this is just like Gen X hippies who want a house.
Yeah, I think one of the problems it can develop is it ends up it can be a very insular thing where it's less about providing housing for people who might genuinely need this program.
Yeah,
and it becomes more about maintaining our own sort of very nice means of this our little bubbles out of capitalism, our little sort of bubbles where we don't have to worry about our own housing problems, and we can democratize our housing, but we don't want to let too many poors in, because then we need to start like thinking about how much of our mortgages we're all paying. We might have to start chipping in a bit more for to set up other housing projects.
Yeah.
That might need it more, and then that gets people antsy, and they're like, oh no, why can't they just? And they have a very means-tested application process. I had a friend who went to a Radical Roots meeting. It sounded like hell. It sounded like hell to me, because it was camping, which I already don't like.
Camping with the Gen X hippies.
Camping and doing financial stuff and just sorting through your finances, your housing finances with Gen X hippies whilst camping.
Fucking
like,
murder me.
He was like, if I can get away, without having to camp, can I just stay at yours? We just get the train immediately back once we've had the meeting where we need to have.
Just do this normally, like people, please.
So I think it can develop into this very insular and honestly kind of middle class thing. I think it can, but it doesn't have to. But I do worry that it does. I've not been that involved with it. I've only heard what I've been told.
I had quite a heated interaction with a Radical Roots person, because they're one of the cooperatives, one that they're from. It was like I forget if it was vegan or vegetarian, but you had to be that to live there. And,
oh dear.
And again, I was coming at it from a perspective of thinking like this is about developing affordable housing and like giving poor people like an opportunity to like have somewhere decent to live. So I was like, why would that, like a lot of are you gonna like turn vulnerable people away, or like people with less money? This would be perfect for, because they don't fucking like, because they're not a fucking vegan, and they were just like, yeah, absolutely. Like, doesn't that seem like? I got at that point I decided I wasn't gonna be involved in this, so I just started getting like mean about it. I was like, why are you here? Like, what's the fucking point of what you're doing? And they just like didn't. Yeah, it wasn't a productive conversation from that point. But I was just really annoyed with them. I was just like this, and that was when I realized like this is like fucking middle class lifestyleism for these people. Like they just want to be like, I live in a cooperative. I've got a little garden I grow tomatoes in. It just really pissed me off, especially because I do believe it's something that could be really useful if the people involved wanted it to be.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think a lot of its problems are kind of tied very much to its founding. It sort of the generation it came out of, and what the mood was at that time, and I think my friend tried to explain to me like some of the financial things that they were trying to take advantage of at the time that don't really exist today.
Right.
And it's made it kind of a hard thing to expand on. Like it expanded quite a bit in the I think in the late 80s. But because I think they used I'm gonna please someone correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think what they did during the 80s was they tried to, Margaret Thatcher had a buying program for council houses. So I think one of the things they may have tried to do was try to buy council houses, and then so that they could
was that the rent to buy thing?
You rent to buy, that's it. Yeah. I think maybe they may have come in on that. It was some other program for buying houses,
right?
That they were able to sort of expand off of. But it's something that's become harder and harder to do as more and more means testing things come in, or more austerity programs just make these things impossible to maintain.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because it was great for the Tories. Homeowners, skew Tory. They were just trying to produce Tory voters. That was the whole the whole thing behind the plan.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I think something like Radical Roots can potentially breed just Lib Dem voters.
Yeah, it gave me major Lib Dem vibes. I should have said that when I was being mean to the person. I should have called them a Lib Dem. Too late.
Jesus, dude.
I know. I get savage.
But yeah, certainly when lockdown ends, Food Not Bombs is something I'm very looking forward to getting back into. Hopefully I'll have more productive things to say about it than just, it's really nice, you should do it, because I'll get into other things.
Well, I'm really, I mean, yeah, it'll be good to have you back. I'm really looking forward to having the stand again, because we've just been like packaging up food and going around with it, because we can't have people gathering in one spot, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was really, it turned it into a little like mini communal space while we were there. It was really nice. It would be nice to have that again, because there's a lot of people who would hang around, a lot of people who would just come to chat, because like the thing a lot of people don't understand is one of the hardest parts of being homeless is how fucking lonely you get. Like it's mind-numbingly isolating. So yeah, a lot of people do just come to fucking talk and like hang out and stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't even come for food. Sometimes they will, like, if we've got cakes on, they'll be like, "Oh, go on, man."
Hell yeah.
Yeah, cakes. By the way, cakes always popular, even vegan cakes.
Yeah. What kind of fucking serial killer says no to cake? It's a safe bet every time.
I recall a story from a different Food Not Bombs group who were very naughty and went into bins. A different one, they'd managed to get from a Costco 2 huge party cakes to order. These were like almost 2 feet across. These things, fucking big ass cake.
Hell yes.
There was like one that was a big chocolate cake, and then there was another one that was just like plain white icing, and I think it was I think that was like a bar mitzvah cake. But like they were personalized. That's sort of how we were able to tell. And they just hadn't been collected.
Right.
so they got thrown out. Like these gigantic cakes, and so we were very we in the collective sense of Food Not Bombs.
Yes, the organization as a whole.
Yeah, were particularly popular, but that local chapter that is nothing to do with us was, apart from being collectively under the Food Not Bombs thing, they were very popular that day because instead of yelling out free food, they just yelled free cake!
Fucking awesome.
It was like, yeah, this is just some cake that a supermarket threw away. Do you want it? And it was a good cake.
God, I could go for some fucking cake.
I've made some cake very early in the lockdown, and it's very bad. There wasn't enough sugar, and I put too much baking soda in it.
Oh,
so
dear me.
It tastes not good.
I've been wondering about... So there's a few things that I kind of think that Food Not Bombs and organizations like it could maybe... could maybe think about a little more. Well, let me know what you think about this, because I notice that people often will ask... people often won't seem to fully get the concept. A lot of people be like, why are you doing this? Who are you with? Like, who's making you do this kind of thing?
Yeah.
I think we could stand, and anyone doing, I think, a program like this could stand to maybe, I guess, have some rhetoric in place, kind of like... Cause
I liked, there was one thing that I remember you said that I liked. It was just a very simple one, which was, if the government's not going to look after us, we've got to do it. Yeah,
that's what I say to people. I figure I'm usually tired and not super eager to get into a big thing, so I figure that's something that's not too contentious.
It's so snappy, though.
Yeah, and it captures what we're trying to do, right? Because I think a big part of why we are, we are a community support group. We are a direct action group. We're not like a charity. We're not a business. We are doing this, I think, for explicitly like political reasons as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to say, like, we're fucking doing this because, like, the people need to look out for each other, and that's an idea. I guess what I'm getting at is, like, do you think there's ways that we could put that idea out there better?
Sort of, there was another member of ours who does, there was something that I remember writing once, and she was like, that's good, that, but and she yelled out, food is a necessity, not a luxury.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mouthful, though. Not gonna lie. Especially in a Scouse accent. Bless her. I love her. But maybe if there was an easier way of saying food is a necessity, not a luxury. Why do we have to pay for food? We don't have to pay for so many other things. It should be free at the point of access.
Yeah.
As with so many things. If there were ways to... I think a lot of organizations maybe kind of live and die by sort of what their slogans are. Not live and die, but like a lot can change with the right slogan.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter was a very provocative slogan that attracted a lot of attention, positive and negative.
Yeah.
Because it immediately suggests that they don't under the present system.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think, maybe certain slogans, ones that I think capture the dissonance of an abundant production, but a deficient, what's the word I used? Abundant production, but deficient distribution, that's it.
Yeah.
Something that underlines that as this monstrous contradiction that is a fault with the system.
What about just saying, like, food is a human right? Because, like, you'd have to be ready to argue, because you're going to get some people being like, just pissing their pants about it. But, like, I think I think that's an adequately bold sort of stance to take that kind of represents the idea that we're going for. I don't know. What do you think?
I guess so. You may get some raised eyebrows from left communists, though. Like, what is this human rights thing you speak of?
Left communists don't fucking matter, though. We're in the real world. It's fine.
I mean, fair enough, but you may get someone who makes like
shit.
a legalistic argument and says, well, technically it is not illegal, right? And the second floor is the Geneva Convention, or something like that. You know, like,
Can we just beat them up if they do
ignorant.
that? I guess
I mean,
that's assault.
You know, I don't know, throw pasta at them.
Throw pasta at them, yeah, in Minecraft. I think that works particularly well with religious folk, says Dr. Rue. What, could you expand on what you mean there? How religious is Liverpool, anyway? Not a lot of Irish people, right? There must be some Catholicism.
I think there's slightly more. I mean, I'm not too sure because I've lived in. I mean, my experience of living in Scotland was only when I was like a child, so like a bit isolated, maybe. My only other experience is maybe Derby. I kind of get the feeling that Liverpool is fairly religious.
Right.
In comparison to, like, a little bit more, you might get a few more people who are a bit more diehard. But it's rarely, like, evangelizing. Rarely, I think you'll find, evangelicals, I think Catholicism's a bit more prominent. So when people talk to you, usually, like, the people I've talked religion with have usually been like people of Irish descent, or they've been African migrants, usually at work. So I think that's predominantly Catholic, I guess.
Right.
And I don't know. The conversation is always kind of funny because it always sort of comes across as if it's the first time you've ever heard this conversation. It's like, oh, have you not heard of Jesus Christ? He can save you and be really good. It's just get on that Jesus. It's like,
he fucking owns. He can bench like fucking 500 kilograms, man. Absolute beast.
Just a unit of a guy.
Absolute unit.
How great would it be if you like went back in time and met Jesus and he was just fucking jacked?
That would own. I would be a Christian immediately. Like, no fucking contest. Like, if your boy respects the weight, like, I'm sold. Like, that's it for me.
Just look like fucking Conan the Barbarian.
Absolutely.
Headband included.
Dr.
Magdalene is actually like clinging to his shins as well, like Boris Vallejo painting.
Fuck. Dr. Rue says, I've had luck convincing my Catholic parents on that end, and it shorts out the Baptists in this area when pointing out that Jesus really liked giving out food. May also be a Deep South thing. Yeah, I'm not sure. If you're in a very religious area, then I think that, you know, I think taking those sorts of angles is probably useful. I think even if Liverpool is more on the religious side, I think the UK in general isn't like a super overtly Christian place, some parts of the US can be.
I mean, the most prominent religion in the UK is Church of England, which is just cucked.
What is it like?
It's like it's a very moderate. It's I don't know. It's this very sort of woolly, moderate kind of spin on religion. I guess it's.
Is it like derived from Protestantism? Or?
Yeah. It's a very milder kind of Protestantism. The way I was given to understand religion when I was, Christian religion when I was in school, learning about the division of the church was, or at least the second one, that is, between Protestants and Catholics.
Right.
My history teacher sort of put it on a scale. You know, like the scale of Catholicism and Protestantism.
Right.
Where you have, and sort of with the Church of England somewhere in the middle, maybe leaning slightly more Catholic. so that you'll have certain trappings of Catholicism, like imagery, for instance, might be more flowery and decorative. You still have certain hierarchies that you find in the Catholic Church as well, like bishops still exist, for instance. And maybe saints don't play the same role as they do in Catholicism, but they might still be acknowledged, I think. But obviously, I think the primary thing with the Church of England is the monarch is the head of the church.
Boo!
Which means technically, our head of state is also our head of the state religion as well.
Wait, does that mean that we're a theocracy?
Theocracy!
That rules! Alright. Alright. I was gonna make some jokes that I'm not gonna make because I'm gonna lose my fucking Twitch account if I start talking about holy wars and stuff.
We're a theocracy.
Absolutely. Jihad on France. That owns. I'm happy to be part of
liberal theocracy.
I'm happy to be part of the English Caliphate. I think it's gonna be great. Let's do it. Absolutely.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, I think the Church of England tends to manifest mostly in like community things. I mean, to be honest, I actually like there can be a lot of very good things that happen in church groups. I think, although I think most of that tends to be outside, maybe the more established Catholic and Church of England ones.
Right.
I remember I had an ex-girlfriend. She took me to church once. And I was, which was shit, but
that's a groovy date.
Oh man! But one of the things that I thought was actually kind of cool was like how broad the ethnic sort of makeup of it was. Like they had Kurdish Bibles, for instance, which was like, wow, that's not something you really see.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a lot of Chinese Bibles as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chinese Christians tend to be quite make up like the bulk of non-white people in churches. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm making gross assumptions there.
High-level colonialism.
I don't know. Maybe I'm making gross assumptions.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Broad generalizations. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been to church. I got minor burns from going in there the first time, so don't want to risk it again.
Yeah, we've all been there.
But I mean, I think there have been like people who did come up to us a couple of times, and like there are some people who have come a couple of times who I think maybe it was like religion was their primary motivation. I think there is actually one guy who comes who is a Christian.
Okay.
One of the regulars. Certainly, I think it can be something that if you're talking to religious people, bringing that aspect of Jesus up.
Yeah, that it is consistent with some aspects of their faith, if they choose to acknowledge them.
Arguably the most important aspects.
Yeah.
Certainly, yeah. And it's it's something that it's very that I think even like across political spectrums you're gonna find people who have a hard time disagreeing with it, because it will probably be like, because if you see a conservative, they'll think, well, at least they're doing charity instead of it coming out of my taxes.
Yeah.
And maybe if you, I mean, actually, I think there have been reactionaries who've co-opted food not bombs tactics in Greece, for instance. I think the Golden Dawn did a sort of a food not bombs group.
Italian fascists are doing it too.
Was it Italian fascists?
It might also be Greece.
They were only giving out their food to white people. and then deliberately avoiding immigrants, or like deliberately putting pork products in so that Muslims and Jews can't eat it.
Yeah, it sounds like some shit they would do.
Because they're trying to build a base within their own sort of what they see as their communities.
Yeah.
And if anything, like refutes the notion that it can't build power. It's like, well, the other side are doing it too. So I mean, this can't just be people who are sort of pie in the sky thinking about it. I think there is some when your enemies start copying you,
It means you're doing something right.
Maybe doing something right there, yeah.
Yeah, or in the case of the Panthers, when they're desperately trying to destroy what you're doing, that's also an indication that you've probably struck a nerve there. So it's something to think on for sure.
Oh, there was something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, maybe I wanted to briefly talk about the mutual aid groups. There is like some ways they can be co-opted as well. For those who don't know, like there is some mutual aid groups springing up for the lockdown. And I remember this was something that someone we know had mentioned, where there is certain, especially if they're run off of Facebook, the admins aren't really answerable to any kind of democracy or any kind of consensus. It's just what gets posted is dictated by them, and for a large part, many of these groups have been sort of approached by Labour Party management. I think I did tune into the stream earlier and did hear you talking about the Labour Party management types.
Yeah, managerial class ladies.
And there is certainly a risk of these groups being co-opted by them. I think Freedom News did talk about one leaked message where they said these groups need to be under the proper authority, though, which they pretty much mean the local council / kind of the state.
Yeah.
It needs to be under some arm of the state for it to be considered legitimate.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to be aware of when you're sort of getting involved with mutual aid things. Like, you might see some people saying, well, look, we need to use the resources we have. This could be a potentially huge resource for us. I know I did just endorse using a social enterprise as a premise for to cook from, but that's if you can get it. Not like if you're approached, generally they kind of, I feel like it's because they want something from you.
Yeah.
They're seeing a potential there.
Yeah.
To something to co-opt. And certainly we've been approached by some, I think, like NGO-ish kind of sounding people, but like sort of startup energy to them. I don't know if you were there when there was that guy who said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this gig thing," and it just seemed like this just sounds entirely like an ego trip for you, where he's saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna live as a homeless person for a week." Like, cool, and then I'm gonna do a live gig about it. I'm like, cool.
Fuck off, man. Nah, I wasn't there for that guy.
He asked us to promote it for him, and we're like, cool.
Very cool. Fuck off.
Thanks for the napkins.
Yeah.
I think I remember there was someone who was telling me about a mutual aid centre that gradually got pushed out as an NGO started to take over and just basically just turned it into a business.
Yeah.
It's something that can seem tempting because when you're engaged in a lot of this kind of activism, the financial side is always going to be against you because you're working against the system that incentivizes finance and so on.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be an inherent part of that. How that manifests will be different, depending on what you're doing, obviously. But yeah, if it seems like someone's come up and said, look, we could turn this into a really profitable thing, and it seems too good to be true, I mean, I would say it probably is.
Yeah, that's probably a good.
Anyway.
Yeah, don't let
I
people
think-
turn your direct action organizations into a fucking into a startup. Resist that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeet those motherfuckers.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm gonna think about sloganeering a bit. Maybe. I think food is a human right. Might have some legs to it. I'm not sure. I want something. I don't know. I think that we should be aggressive, like about it. You know what I mean?
I did have a fairly aggressive leaflet that I made last year, but it was intended to only go around the Anarchist Book Fair, and it was a pretty bland leaflet that just gave the sort of a gist and the details for getting involved.
Right.
Because the thought process was, well, these are for the book fair. You know, this isn't. You know, there's all sorts of opportunities to talk about how bad capitalism is there.
Yeah.
Why we might want to do this there, so we can just make it to the point. And then I think we ended up using it a lot anyway because it had because it just had information on it, so we could just give it.
Yeah.
Hang on, I may have. Let me see if I can find. Oh, here we are. Peanut Bombs leaflets. That was what I had. It said, "Human need should not be held to ransom." I think that's a thing that I remember when I started getting into anarchism was the term like a ransom demand or like a ransom price tag.
Right.
That's not something you see much anymore. I think that needs to come back. Ransom demand. That commodities are held for this demand, and you well, not commodities, rather human need is held to this ransom.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting the idea of rejecting the idea that like capitalism is built on like free association, like libertarians try to talk about and stuff, because that's obviously just baby brain shit. Yeah, that's good. That might be something to we should think about that. I don't know. I want to I think that food programs in general should be political as fuck about it. I don't know. I don't know. What would you think about like encouraging people on the street to like get involved? Like people always come up to us with questions and showing an interest and stuff. Like we've done it a few times, just being like, yeah, fucking come over next time. Like
I think
put your fucking money where your mouth
what
is.
we tried to do was quite an effective thing. Was we kind of unconsciously set up like a newbie starting time, because the start of Food Not Bombs is this very slow process of like and also there is like the risk that not everyone's going to be there on time and stuff.
Sure.
So having this time where we say this is generally a good time to come if you're new, because things will be underway. There might be a few there'll definitely be some jobs for you to do. And you know, there won't be as much empty there won't be as much empty noise, I guess, like empty silence. That's what I mean, like where you're sort of awkwardly stumbling around where they're saying, is there something for me to do, and you're like, yeah, you do that. And
yeah,
I always hate like when someone comes up and asks me something to do and I'm like, you know, I've got to order them to do something. It's like, you don't like doing that. It's like, always got to try and phrase it in a way that sounds nicer. It's like, well, yeah, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this really boring, shitty task?
do you need a heartless people manager? Because I can just do that. I don't feel anything. I'll just do it. That's fine.
It's just like, oh yeah, can you take all the seeds out of these 5 watermelons?
Oh man, I wish we had 5 watermelons going. God damn.
True. That would be good. Or peel this sack of turnips. Just like, thanks. Peel this sack of turnips with a razor that's about as sharp as a chemistry teacher's cardigan.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so yeah, I think having a different start time for new people is a very, very good idea.
Yeah.
Anyone running a food program should try to have separate off your experienced central people from like new people, and be like, all right, everyone, get here at this time, and let's get ready for any new people so that we can guide them, because they're not going to know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, have like I think having some kind of structured time is fairly important. It doesn't need to be like set in stone. It's like a general guide. Like, so like sort of, once we've got this done, we need to start this and this and this, so that then and eventually everyone kind of gets on board, and like eventually coordinating is kind of just done like unconscious, like without even needing to say much.
Yeah.
People end up, like when someone said, "Oh, how much food do we have left?" I'm gonna be like, about 2 spoons. Then other people will be like, "Right, okay, start," and they'll start moving things onto the trolley.
Yeah.
That'll eventually happen, within a couple of times going there. You'll start to get the gist of what the vibe is like, and then you won't feel so awkward. I think overcoming that awkwardness of that's one of the things that I think might drive a lot of people away, is overcoming that initial awkwardness of that you can be self-directed, that this isn't something with a boss where someone's gonna sit down and be like, oh yeah, you do this thing. That a lot of it is self-directed, and you can talk and ask a lot more, and if you've been going enough times, eventually you'll pick up on what needs doing. But yeah, if you're getting involved with these things, don't be afraid to ask, if there's anything that needs doing. If you think you spot something that needs doing as well, I mean, yeah, definitely bring that up. There is a chance that whoever is giving coordination, chances are they may have missed it, and they'll be appreciative of you picking it up, or at least knowing about it.
What would you say or how would you feel about being, like I was saying earlier, being maybe a little more aggressive about getting people in, like, because like I said, like we get lots of people asking about it and stuff. Like, okay, so we've got like a separate start time for newer people, so there's room to sort of make sure they've got maybe a slightly better environment to come in on at the beginning. Like,
yeah.
Do you think just say to everyone, like, yeah, fucking come next week if because loads of people come up to us being like, oh, I like what you're doing. It's like, fucking come do it then, like.
I think having a good social media presence as well is particularly been helpful for us, because we've expanded our. For a while, we had a very defunct Facebook page because the admins of it had left, and sort of nobody had the access to it. But fortunately, they've given the passwords over now.
Good.
And yeah, having a presence there can basically reassure people that they can go and get information from there too. That they don't have to just recall everything that you've just said to them. That they can maybe alleviate any sort of concerns they have about showing up at certain times. It's like, oh, do I have to show up for the entire thing? You can be like, no, you can show up for just an hour if you want.
Yeah.
I think that's particularly helpful. That's been something that's been pretty good for steadily expanding our numbers. When it comes to aggressively marketing ourselves, maybe we do need some more signs. We had a lot more signs when we started, but they've kind of it's been a while, and they're in a dusty social center for a bit, so eventually they get wear and tear. So perhaps new signs, I think.
It might be a good idea. The only reason I bring things like that up is just because, like, I think it would be beneficial, and it would be a big part of trying to sort of build, try to build power around things like this as well. if people know that it's, you know, the people who fed them were the anarchists or the socialists or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think we should be very bold about that.
I think certainly when with any Food Not Bombs adjacent thing, you need to emphasize that it is a political project.
Yeah.
That it's not about charity, that it's not about just doing something because, you know, we think it's a nice thing to do, but because you think there is an inherent flaw in the system, and it can be addressed at least in some way through this kind of praxis, but that your praxis sort of shows this flaw.
Yeah.
Definitely Food Not Bombs should be very much an anti-capitalist group, front and center. Should be a part of a lot of its politics.
Yeah, definitely.
Amongst the other things that are considered part of its politics, like anti-war and vegetarianism. I think, it definitely should be a class war kind of project.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I don't really know what to say to that other than just agreeing.
Well, I don't know. I'm just sort of seeing if we're on the same page about it. Just because.
I think we are. I mean, there have been times when I remember there was one time we did take out a sign that did say "fuck off, you corporate fucks." That was, I think, it was taken from Pride, the anti-capitalist Pride demo.
Right.
I was like, some people did get very angry at that sign because it had a swear on it.
Yeah. Well, I do think that maybe, like, you can be aggressive while still being tone appropriate. Like, that does feel maybe not quite right for that sort of situation, you know.
Certainly, yeah. I think there is definitely a way to do that. I'm still very much hung up on, like, still very much in love with the idea of bringing back the term. Was it ransom demand, or was it like another term which was the anarchist sort of slang for a price tag?
I'm not 100% sure.
Oh man, if only Badman still had his videos, I could check that video where he says some, like, I think it was ransom demand, which is another name for a price tag. Oh man. But certainly I think maybe emphasizing that you're here because there is a fault inherent to the system and no adjustment to the system is going to address that fault.
Yeah.
Perhaps because you can argue, you can just make the supermarkets give away this excess food. Eventually, that's going to be a thing that gets. That's not going to be enough reform that lasts, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not really compatible with capitalism long term.
Yeah, no, not at all. Also, like,
if it was, I mean, and the way that supermarkets can easily just get around that is just reducing the amount of stock they have, and in that case, you've only solved really one of the problems, which is you're producing too much. It's just solved the overproduction problem a bit. It's not so much. It's done little to solve the distribution problem. It's your take, like, you can take from one problem to solve the other problem, make one problem worse at the expense of the other problem. I think.
That's all you really can do when you're just trying to, like, fix these problems without fundamentally fixing the system. And those are all definitely conversations to have with people as well. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that I hope we start seeing some more people getting involved. I know that mutual aid groups are exploding during this pandemic, and I feel like it's laid bare to a lot of people the fact that no one else is gonna, like, look after them when shit hits the fan, because the government just, like, shat the bed big time.
I remember thinking to myself, you know, should organizations make, like, post-COVID slogans like "You left us to die" or something like that, something very attention-grabbing and edgy,
Yeah, they definitely should. We should be capitalizing on this for a long time, because like this has been a catastrophe, entirely exacerbated by capitalism's inability to deal with a crisis like this.
It's. I remember thinking. I remember thinking the other day, like the only first world nation that seems to be handling this crisis worse than the UK is the country we seem to be modeling all our healthcare and economy off of.
Yeah.
It's like, is this such a good idea, guys? I don't know.
Yeah, there's such a transparent correlation between just slavishly fucking worshipping the market and like not being able to cope with the crisis.
Look after people, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a drum we should be beating for a very long time, because the economic consequences of everything that's happening right now are going to be felt for a very long time. This is going to be like 2008, where it just kind of never stops being relevant. Like,
yeah.
The effects of the 2008 crash are still seen today. Like, it's just what the world is like now. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot. I think this is far from the last time in our lifetimes. I suspect we're going to see a crisis where it's like that, and its negative effect just becomes a new status quo.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that sort of like hangs over me so much is the idea of like everything like is that we do go back to a status quo, but it's just this status quo is just additional pain and misery.
Well, I mean, that's the plan. Like, that's the plan of our governments at this point. So we need to make sure people know that that's what's coming, and try to begin to create organizations to fight against this. Because I think that I think a crisis should be an environment in which we are flourishing, and people are coming to see that we've been right the whole time. You know what I mean? Provided we're willing to push that fact, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think that's about it. Is there anything else you think would be important for people to know, or?
Other than I think I'll leave with like a sentiment that I've sort of felt, but I've been able to counteract with. I think at the moment it can be very easy to feel like it's getting increasingly hopeless, because you might be isolated from a lot of people and a lot of action, a lot of activities, and you're just left with just like a lot of social media, where a lot more people are now on social media, and a lot more people on social media means a lot more people saying stupid things on social media. And that's had a detrimental effect for myself, and that's why I've like stepped away from social media for a bit. But I think remembering that there is this growing understanding, this growing class consciousness, and that it can go somewhere, that it's that we're not necessarily doomed. We're only doomed if we do nothing. I think that's been something that sort of kept my head above water a bit. Is understanding and believing that there is something to win, I guess. You just gotta fight for it.
Hell yeah. No, that's really well put. I think that is important for people to keep in mind. I've been seeing a lot of people giving in to hopelessness somewhat since a lot of the electoral efforts of the left have sort of given in. That's why I made the video I put out the other day, just saying like, hey, this is actually fine. This means that we're moving on to the next stage of struggle here.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, I think it's all right. It's I think this can be a good thing. I think there's a lot of benefit to showing institutions like the Labour Party and the Democratic Party for what they are. I think a lot of people wrongly associate the left of those parties with the party institutions, I think it's worth understanding that these are separate entities.
Yeah.
And one of them has institutional power, whereas the other is just kind of a growth on the side of it. And so any efforts, you are just fighting like the institutions of these parties.
Certainly, all the recent things that have come out about the Labour Party prove that.
Yeah,
That there was just this institution of Blairites who used it as their career rather than for any kind of political purpose. Just fucking turned on the idea of progress.
Yeah, and like it's really gross and angering and it's shitty. But at the same time, I guess I welcome the clarity. I welcome the removal of any like deniability or obfuscation where people can be like, oh, maybe Labour is good. It's like, no, it's fucking not. It is the enemy of the people. It will happily, gleefully lose to the Tories if it means stopping any like working class backed movements. I just think it's never been clearer sort of who our allies and who our enemies are, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good place to work from, you know?
I agree, yeah. So I think I'm going to get back to putting stats on things for you to shrink.
All right, sick. Before you take off, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at AnarchoMugwump, or Synthesis Platformism. I'm on YouTube at AnarchistMugwump. I might release a video, maybe. Honestly, I have a video that I might put out that is just do you know if I'll get like my channel taken down for putting compilations of riots to S Club 7 music?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that'll be a problem or not.
Well, I'll give it a try.
Okay.
Because I have one of those, so I might put one of those up for entertainment.
All right. Are you still working on that video about food nut bombs, or?
Basically, my computer started being a bit crumbly, so I've had to take a lot of stuff off. And my thought was like, well, I don't want to make this video whilst there is a crisis and people can't get involved in this. Right. So I kind of took a step back from it. I have been trying to read up more on rights at work things. Yeah. I might. I have been thinking about making a video that's just about rights at work and organizing unions, because I have a small, tiny sliver of experience when it comes to organizing tenants. I've been in like 3 cases. 2 of them were pretty successful, but also fairly small. Right. And one that was a bit bigger, but the tenants pulled out of. So.
Right, I see. Okay.
The amount of expertise I have is dubious. So I'm always nervous about the information I give out.
All right. Well, yeah, definitely. If you want to if you want me to go over any of that shit with you, any scripts or anything, I might be able to help out as well.
Oh, spiffing.
Hell yeah. All right. So fucking follow him, AnarchoMugwump. Follow. Subscribe. I think that's what you do on YouTube. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. The liking, the sharing, the subscribing.
Yeah, absolutely. And fucking join a food program. Get involved in a Food Not Bombs or something. They're everywhere. There's shit tons of them. They're in America. Oh, Skittles is up. Skittles is fucking partying. Hell yeah.
Skittles, join a Food Not Bombs program.
Absolutely. Skittles is the strongest, and she says, "Feed the people," and that's it. That's the stream, folks.
That's it.
That's it.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night, everyone. You'll take care. Oh, look at Skittles. Look at her. Look at her, though. She's eating. Take care, everyone.